2025 was a great year for Metroidvania fans, with heavy hitters like Hollow Knight Silksong and Ender Magnolia. Playing games of such high quality is satisfying, but it also leads to a craving for more action exploration goodness. Fortunately, 2026 has some promising prospects for the genre, so let's take a look at what we can look forward to throughout the year. What is this list? A miserable little pile of secrets that will now be exposed to show 15 Metroidvania games worth putting on your wish list. But real quick, support real people that make real things over at patreon.com/idreamofindiegames, where your new indie gaming community is waiting for you. At number 15, Obsidian Legion is a Souls-like in a medieval dark fantasy setting developed and published by Palisade Games. It features hand-drawn art paired with atmospheric music, creating a strong sense of immersion. From what I've played of the demo, the gameplay is engaging, offering melee, ranged, and martial arts combat, plus platforming abilities like ledge grabbing and wall kicking through narrow passages. I love when a heavily armored character can move with ninja-like agility. This mix of armored parkour and varied combat options is the hook that keeps you coming back. The story has you playing as a mercenary sent to recover a mysterious artifact on an island nation. When you arrive, things seem conspicuously quiet, and the situation quickly becomes dangerous. It's a fitting Souls-like setup, a day at work that spirals into madness like a medieval dark fantasy parallel to Dante and Clerks. Every time you die, you can shout, "I'm not even supposed to be here today!" The release date is listed as coming soon, but there is a demo available so you can see if it's for you. This one will excite Metroidvania fans, run-and-gun fans, and metalheads alike. Developed and produced by Chaosmonger Studio, Voivod, The Nuclear War brings imagery and concepts from the legendary experimental metal band Voivod. You play as the Voivod, a warrior trapped in a nightmare world where fragments of his memory are hidden, and recovering them is the key to escape. Combat mixes ranged and melee attacks against monstrous enemies inspired by Voivod's album art and song concepts. The band is actively involved to ensure the game fits their look, feel, sound, and lore. You know, band-connected games can be a mixed bag, ranging from bad licensed titles like Kiss Psycho Circus to fun extras like Iron Maiden's Ed Hunter, to full artistic experiences like The Resident's Bad Day on the Midway. This one seems firmly in that third category, and the Metroidvania format feels like a perfect match for Voivod. As a huge fan of both the band and the genre, this might end up being a perfect match for me personally. Crowsworn has been generating hype for years. Developed and published by Mongoose Rodeo, it's now 4 years past its successful Kickstarter campaign. I still remember the first trailer, an animated cutscene with ghoulish creatures approaching a coffin, only for the Plague Doctor masked protagonist to burst out guns blazing with a scythe in hand. It left an impression, and the transition into gameplay was just as exciting, wearing its influences proudly while still looking distinct. From the visual style and platforming shown so far, Crowsworn clearly takes influence from Hollow Knight, but the combat appears more inspired by Devil May Cry. It's a potent combination that promises intense, stylish gameplay. The developer seems committed to taking the time needed to get everything right, and we're getting closer to seeing whether it lives up to its potential. Divinum, developed and published by Sigil Games, is another combat-focused prospect. Players control Fior, whose island homeland faces an external threat. Born with a blessing that will eventually grant her powers, she must train and gain experience to unlock them and save her people. Her journey begins by fighting monsters and uncovering the island's secrets and how they relate to the looming danger. A demo is available featuring a tutorial area leading to a boss fight, plus a section for experimenting with abilities and upgrades. While the demo doesn't fully showcase exploration, it does give a strong sense of the mechanics. The combat is combo-based hack and slash, alternating between melee attacks and magical abilities. Mana regenerates slowly over time and faster when dealing melee damage. There's a perfect dodge and parry system, but players who dislike parrying can rely on a dash mechanic instead. With so many options, it accommodates different playstyles. If you enjoy combat-centric Metroidvanias like the Hunter X games or Lost Epic, Divinum has a lot to offer. Eden's Guardian, developed and published by Voragine Games Studio, openly displays its influences, yet still holds the potential to establish its own identity. In this mythic Souls-like adventure, you play as a Guardian, someone of mixed divine and mortal bloodline. Guardians inherited divine power from their godly ancestor, but over generations that power diminished. Some sought to regain it through a dark source that drove them mad. You play as a guardian imprisoned for opposing this path, who escapes after years only to find her homeland cursed. She sets out to discover the source of malevolence and end it. With lovely pixel art, visceral combat, and challenging platforming, influences from Blasphemous and Aeterna Lucis are clear, and the story themes fit that lineage as well. As someone who appreciates those inspirations, I'm excited to see how the game establishes itself on its own merits. Silent Planet: Elegy of a Dying World, developed by Vertex Zero and published by Red Dune Games, will appeal to Igavania fans. Described as a gothic, sci-fi Metroidvania rooted in cosmic horror, it immediately grabbed my attention. The visual style evokes Symphony of the Night and Deedlit in Wonder Labyrinth, with hints of The Last Faith in some enemy designs, all wrapped in a psychedelic tone created through bold color choices. The story follows a pranic who travels to the planet Thulkandra to retrieve the Angel's Egg, believed to be the source of life in the universe. She arrives to find the ruins of a dead civilization filled with mechanical and biological horrors. Her mission is to retrieve the Angel's Egg and uncover what happened to this world. The theme of being alone on a hostile alien planet gives it some Metroid vibes, making Silent Planet feel like a return to the genre's roots, while doing something new with classic elements. It's estimated to release in Q4 2026, making it a strong contender for Christmas wishlists. Number 9 is another title that has been generating interest for a few years now thanks to its emphasis on atmosphere and replayability. Developed by Ichthys and published by Critical Reflex, Being and Becoming takes place in a kingdom corrupted by a collective dream. Players control the lucid dreamer, who must fight and consume the souls of the corrupted, transforming them into new spirits that serve as living weapons. The surreal pixel art imagery captures both the beautiful and the grotesque sides of this dream world. Another standout feature is that your choices determine which areas open up for exploration, meaning it will take multiple playthroughs to see everything the game offers. This is a novel idea for the genre, and I'm curious to see how it plays out. It makes me wonder whether there will be multiple ending routes, or if different paths will simply create variations on a central conclusion. I'm really looking forward to finding out when Being and Becoming finally releases. Number 8 is a sequel to a cult classic shape-shifting Souls-like, developed by Cloverbyte and published by Quali. Grime 2 aims to take the bizarre, artsy approach of the first game to new heights. In a strange alien world where higher beings are obsessed with art, you play as a stealer of forms who can absorb enemies to copy their attacks. Imagine the premise of a Kirby game, but instead of being cutesy and easygoing, it's weird, dark, and challenging with an emphasis on experimentation and exploration. Some Metroidvanias are eccentric, experimental, and innovative enough to stand out, but the Grime games go further and fully embrace being the avant-garde of the genre. While they'll always be niche, there's something special for players who appreciate strange creative presentation, themes, and gameplay. Grime 2 has a demo available, so feel free to try it and see if you like it for yourself. At number 7, developed by Deskwork Inc. and published by Shueisha Games, this is a high-concept title pushing the boundaries of the genre, fitting for a style built on exploration. In Chronoscript, The Endless End, you play as an editor trapped in a manuscript that continues writing itself beyond its ending. To escape, our lead character must uncover the mystery behind this phenomenon. The game takes place in both 2D and 3D structures. The 2D areas represent parts of the manuscript you explore, while the 3D areas allow you to travel between its sections. The hand-drawn pen and ink style suits the theme perfectly, making it feel like you're playing inside a book illustration. Most information available focuses on the concept and presentation, so whether the gameplay matches the quality remains to be seen. However, the limited footage shows nothing concerning, so I'm pretty optimistic about this one. Chronoscript, The Endless End is planned for a 2026 release, and we'll just have to wait for more details on when it will arrive. Trizna, a 2.5D Souls-like, comes in at number 6. Developed and published by Leniv I. Bezdarin, it follows a nameless warrior who died in combat and was resurrected by a witch as a tool for her bidding. As he travels and fights, he gradually develops a will of his own and eventually gains the ability to make choices. It's an interesting premise. An undead protagonist with no memory of his past slowly finds life in undeath as he regains a sense of self, purpose, and identity. The presentation is strong as well, with a dark and eccentric 2.5D world that matches the tone of the story. A demo is available on Steam, letting you try the combat and perilous platforming sections for yourself. While the learning curve is a bit steep, the tutorial is solid and the game becomes a lot of fun once you get the hang of things. Trizna is scheduled for a 2026 release, so keep an eye on it if it sounds appealing. Aeterna Lucis is one of the most frequently mentioned games in Metroidvania recommendation videos, and for good reason. It stands out with its blend of challenging combat, precision platforming, and a tragic, mythic story with fitting presentation. I'm definitely in agreement with viewers, having included it in one of my lists of the best in the genre. So it's no surprise that its upcoming sequel appears here. Developed and published by Aeterna Games Studio SL, Aeterna Lucis comes in at number 5. It was initially planned for 2025, but was delayed to a 2026 release window. While the delay should help ensure a polished launch, the wait is tough for fans eager for a follow-up to such an iconic game. Take comfort in knowing it shouldn't be too much longer, and you can check out the Roguevania spin-off, Summum Aeterna, released in 2023, in the meantime. Number 4 may be one of the later releases on this list, having only been announced late last year. Developed and published by Guild Studio, Nammo is a dark fantasy Souls-like set in ancient Korea. Players control Nammo, whose best friend, whom she loved as a sister, suddenly betrays her and slashes her eyes. Waking up blind and alone in a cave, she begins to develop the ability to see with the eyes of the spirit, revealing things as they truly are. With this new power, Nammo seeks to uncover the reason behind the betrayal, encountering monsters and spirits along the way. Her spiritual sight functions as a gameplay mechanic, allowing her to perceive the true nature and motives of NPCs and identify enemy weak points. Combat looks promising as well, featuring the ability to absorb the souls of defeated bosses and gain their attack abilities. You'll be able to mix these powers to create your own custom style. The presentation is gorgeous, with hand-drawn art reminiscent of Vigil, The Longest Night, but infused with ancient Korean aesthetics. This is absolutely a must-play for me, and be sure to wishlist it if it seems like one for you. Number 3 is the sequel to a game that made it onto one of my best of the best lists, the excellent gloomy sci-fi Igavania, Timespinner. Developed and published by Lunar Ray Games, Timespinner 2, Unwoven Dream looks like it's bringing back everything that made the original great, but with new twists and upgraded presentation. The improved visuals are immediately noticeable. While the original looked good, the leap here feels like jumping from one retro console generation to the next, like a great Genesis-era pixel art game getting a Saturn-quality sequel. The story follows Arya, a retired war hero destined to play a pivotal role in preventing a cataclysmic event that threatens reality itself. She'll travel through different regions of an interconnected realm known as Surfland. This time, the theme seems to lean more toward interdimensional travel rather than time travel, and I'm curious to see how that plays out. Timespinner 2 takes place after the first game, and some characters will be returning. As a big fan of the original, I'm extremely excited for the sequel and eagerly watching for more information. 9 Years of Shadows is well known among Metroidvania diehards. It earned the elusive Golden Genie Award here on the channel and appeared in one of my best of the genre lists. With its distinctive pixel art and a unique take on the Igavania formula, it really stood out. Now, developer and publisher Halberd Studios is following it up with Mariachi Legends, which lands at number 2. You play as Pablo Cruz, a detective who makes a deal with death herself. She grants him magical powers to fight crime and corruption in exchange for delivering a man who defied her by becoming immortal. Mariachi Legends is dripping with style. Its trailer showcases animated cutscenes and pixel art that give it a memorable visual flair. While it carries over many elements that made 9 Years of Shadows great, it also introduces noticeable differences, a darker, more violent tone balanced with a lighthearted sense of humor. The bloody, visceral combat contrasts with a cooking system rumored to involve influencing NPCs in ways that add charm and comic relief to the heavier themes. With a release window in the second quarter of 2026, we won't have to wait long. This could be one of the indie hits that defines the year. Now we reach number 1, a game produced by an iconic figure in game development and the sequel to one of my all-time favorites. Developed by Artplay and published by 505 Games, Bloodstained: The Scarlet Engagement is my most anticipated game of 2026. The Bloodstained series, in both its Metroidvania and Classicvania entries, is the true spiritual successor to Castlevania, capturing what made that series great while adding innovations that keep it fresh. The Scarlet Engagement, a story prequel to Ritual of the Night, takes an ambitious approach by having players control 2 characters with a single controller, making it something of a spiritual successor to Castlevania Portrait of Ruin, itself an homage to the dual character structure of Castlevania 3. The available footage shows the game was clearly designed for more powerful hardware than Ritual of the Night. While I love the look of that game, the upgraded visuals here are wonderful, delivering exactly what a sequel should, everything appealing about the original taken to the next level. A new time of day system shifts between dawn, day, dusk, and night, affecting gameplay and environmental interactions. Players of Dominique's Curse, a DLC mini-sequel to Ritual of the Night styled after Castlevania 2, may recognize this as a natural evolution of that idea. Another exciting addition is the Epiphany combat system, where special skills are discovered during combat under certain conditions, such as using specific weapons at certain levels. RPG elements are deeper as well, with a character class system featuring separate level tracks for both your characters and their chosen class. As someone obsessed with both Metroidvanias and RPGs, I expect to sink a lot of time into experimenting with all of this. I could keep ranting about what excites me about Bloodstained the Scarlet engagement, but this video is already getting lengthy, so I'll wrap things up. Thank you for watching, and I hope you found some games here that you're excited for. What upcoming Metroidvanias have caught your interest? Let us know in the comments. We always love hearing from you. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe, and check out our Patreon at patreon.com/idreamofindiegames, where you can get perks like early access to videos, access to the friendliest indie gaming community on Discord, and so much more. If you disliked this video, leave a comment anyway. It still counts as engagement and helps us in the algorithm. Just don't say anything truly vile, or Indie Krampus might pay you a visit. Keep bringing a voice to the voiceless, indie warriors, and may your day be filled with the joy of gaming.